Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. Today I wanted to talk about an interesting piece of news which I read, which I thought I should talk about because sometimes in history, events that transpire don't happen, in one big event, like a bomb being dropped or, a volcano going off. But sometimes it can ebb in over a period of time, like how a river carves a valley or how water erodes a stone. Sometimes we can be chipping away at something and suddenly we realize its foundations have become weak and it might collapse. Is it one of those events? I do not know. Is it going to lead to that? I don't know. So, end of the video, I'd like you to listen to what I have to say, and I'm going to lay this out as I'm saying, and I want you to put it down in comments to say, what do you think of what I'm saying? Will there something happen from what I'm saying? I mean, not what I'm saying, but the events which are building up to this. Are these the drops of water which are finally going to crack a mountain, as they say? So what led to me in our group talking about this was this headline that came out saying Saudi Arabia joins BIS and China-led central bank digital currency project. And I do suggest you go read that. It's an interesting article. It's about how Saudi Arabia is joining something that China's central bank had started in 2021 with Hong Kong, Thailand, and UAE, the central bank using a digital yuan currency to transact. And now Saudi Arabia is fully getting on board with that. And what that means, you can read in that article. It's an interesting article. But what I want to look at is the bigger picture. The bigger picture is if you then search further to see what Saudi and China have been doing in the news over the last few months, year, you see things like Saudi crude oil export to China has fallen for the straight month in July. Then another one is saying, will China replace US as Saudi Arabia's main ally? Then Saudi Arabia seeks more Chinese tourists. Then Saudi fund invests in China's effort to create a rival open AI. That was just a couple of weeks ago. Then Saudi AI and chip fund will divest from China if US asked, the CEO saying. That is interesting that US may ask them to have this to do. And this has been going on, this constant slow news between Saudi and China. So if you look at that, there is reasons behind that, which is understandable. Oil has been under pressure because of, since the pandemic, the oil demand dropped. Then the Russian-Ukraine war started and there it spiked. But then the global slowdown, the economy, globally speaking, slowed down. So the demand dropped. So oil is in a very fragile place in terms of pricing. And that's why OPEC has been cutting production to make sure it can keep oil float at a certain price point, to make sure they can make the maximum for it. And one of the largest oil producers is Saudi Arabia, of course. And one of the main markets they sell to is China. And China has been consuming Saudi Arabian oil for some time. And the problem for Saudi Arabia is, before some time back, America was one of the largest consumers of Saudi Arabian oil. And that had all changed with the Americans discovering fracking and then America becoming energy independent. So this led to America looking at its relationship with Saudi slightly differently, and Saudi Arabia also naturally looking for other markets to sell their oil, and China became the largest customer. But what's happened since the Russian-Ukraine war is China has been getting Russian oil at a discount compared to what is available from Saudi, and they've been slowly consuming more and more Russian oil, and the demand for Saudi Arabian oil has been tapering off in China, which is a problem for Saudi Arabia. So it's a partnership. They both need each other at the same time. They have a global geopolitical checkers to play, as they would say, because US is also involved in this. It can get prickly for them. So if you look at it, there is more and more reasons why Saudi Arabia requires China, and China also would like to obligate and help Saudi Arabia than America wanting to help Saudi Arabia right now in terms of tourism, in terms of investment which is required in Saudi Arabia itself because of the Crown Prince's plan of expansion and the cities he's trying to build on the western side, on the western provinces. And same way, China would like to flex its political influence in the region, so it gives them an opportunity in a window. So this has been happening for some time. And this is the latest chip, is them deciding to use the Chinese currency. So this is Saudi Arabia trying to encourage China into taking more of Saudi Arabian oil by saying, yes, we can join your currency, your digital currency, yuan currency. And it's not only China which is doing this. India is trying to create its own, central bank is trying to create its own digital currency. Brazil is working on it. And it's an interesting trend to see. While in the other extreme, you have the American government banning the Fed from creating its own digital currency. And if the Senate passes, it will go into law, preventing and barring the Federal Reserve from creating a digital currency. So this is interesting times. Will this eventually lead to stabilizing the dollar as a reserve currency, as China and Saudi Arabia start transacting on oil? Because energy is one of the largest commodities traded on the dollar. And if more and more countries are willing to trade outside the dollar on energy platforms, would that normalize other trades to happen without the dollar being involved? And if that happens, will this finally remove the dollar as a reserve currency? I know there's two camps out there. The ones who strongly believe this will never happen. And yes, I do hear that logic and I do hear that arguments. And yes, it does make sense. Then I do know there's another camp which strongly believes it is just a matter of time. All things are a matter of time. That I do agree. But is this kind of slow ticking and scratching of, like I said at the beginning of the video, erosion of the strength of the dollar going to lead to this? Finally, people not using the dollar. What is the ramification if that happens? Well, the big ramification for that would be nobody would be interested in buying the American debt anymore. And that could lead to a lot of other problems for the US. Of course, it's all very hypothetical, and I am taking extremes when I'm saying this, just to highlight how it can move and how fast it can move at times. Because in history, if you look back, how we managed to reach at our current moment, we can clearly see the path which we took. Even the missteps that happened, even the lucks and fortunes and the misfortunes which happened, accidents which happened that led us to here. But it's very difficult from this current position to see where the world will be 10 years from now, because we do not know what small mistakes and accidents which are happening now, conversations that are happening now which we think are rather irrelevant, that can transpire into dramatic changes 10 years from now. All I know is the world which I grew up in is very different from the world which I'm right now currently living in. And I have a strong feeling that the world which will be here 10 years from now, when I'm closer to my brother's age, and if I'm still around talking to you, will be very, very different from the world we are in right now. So what is this whole point of this video is, so as an investor, these are things that you need to keep in mind. You should be able to see the small trends, you should be able to see the small newses, and be able to see a pattern in the noise, so you can see how you should be moving around as you're investing. Yes, America still seems to be the world's largest market. Yes, we are investing in US, true. But if you do see opportunities like Japan, Sweden, or anywhere else where you see value and it does make sense to you, it is worthwhile investigating. As they say, shouldn't keep all your eggs in one basket, and it's never wise. So if you are looking at the next 10-year horizon, 15-year horizon as an investment, and you're someone who's diversifying out of India, I would suggest that you try and play the field, as they say, and not only look at certain regions or certain markets. Be careful out there as you invest. As always, do your due diligence and checks and balances, and I will see you in the next one soon. Thank you for watching the video. See you in the next one. Bye.
It's a great privilege and honor that so many of you in thousands have subscribed to my channel and have supported me. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification.